Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I am Rochelle D. Jacobs, your destiny interventionist here live on the Free Yourself Friday podcast. Listen, it has been a minute since we've been here. We've been out here in these streets trying to free ourselves so we can flex. And now that we have flexed, now that we are thriving in
Mm.
this space on this happy Friday, September 26, 2025, we are here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to free ourselves to total. When I say total, I mean all. When I say total, you say deliverance. Total
Deliverance.
deliverance. Yes, 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 yes. We are so grateful and thankful for our guest tonight, our sponsor tonight, Miss Tina J. Lewis. She is an author. She is a DV. And for those of you who don't know what that is, a domestic violence advocate. She is a speaker. She is a lover of the truth. She's a God's girl. She is Tina J. Lewis. And we're just so excited to be here tonight. Listen, go ahead. It's Friday. You know, some of us just got paid. You know, the song just got paid.
Yes.
It's Friday night. We just got paid. Hey, listen, it's time for you to cuddle up in your favorite chair, get you some tea, put on your nice, cozy robe, or just wrap them to your favorite sweatshirt, whatever it is, your comfy socks. Get whatever you need, your popcorn, whatever it is that you need, and join us tonight. Now, this is a weighty, a heavy conversation that we're about to
Mhm.
have, and it's okay because remember, we are here to free ourselves.
Amen.
Listen, 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 ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to tonight's Free Yourself to Total Deliverance. This is going to be a space of healing,
Yes.
of hope, of empowerment. As I said, I'm your host, Rochelle D. Jacobs, and tonight we are diving into the powerful truth, a truth that deliverance is more than an escape.
Amen.
It is restoration. And
Yes.
somebody put in the chat, restoration.
Yeah.
It's the freedom to live without fear.
Mhm.
It's the courage to embrace healing and the strength to walk in our purpose
Yeah.
with peace. And I mean heavy on the peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whether you are a survivor, you're standing with someone you love, you're sitting with someone you love, you're sitting next to someone you love, you're seeking to understand the journey from being in bondage to getting your breakthrough. Listen, this conversation is for you, beloved. Tonight, we are going to uncover the steps to total deliverance, transformation, overcoming, triumph, abundance, and liberty. My prayer tonight, beloveds, is that every listener that is on this YouTube podcast, Facebook, and I got so excited, I forgot to put it on Facebook Live. Give me a moment. I'll do that when Tina introduces herself. But my prayer is that every listener tonight is going to walk away knowing that you are not alone. You're not alone. You are valuable. Your freedom is possible. And Tina is going to say it best. You are a BMW, and she's going to tell you what it means. And so I bring to the stage, I yield the mic to Miss Tina J. Lewis.
Rochelle, thank you so much, first of all, for the invitation to come on your podcast. Girl, you are doing this, and I am super, super proud of you. And I just thank God for, you just always supporting me. And I'm just proud of what you're doing. But again, thank you for the invitation. And yes, My name is Tina J. Lewis, and I am the author of the book Total Deliverance, a survival story. So, hence, this is what the podcast is about, you finding your total deliverance. I do reside here in Houston, Texas. I have three sons, and I have 10 grandchildren, which I call them my heartbeats. Um, and I'm a woman that loves the Lord. I know God did not allow me to go through what I went through just to sit on anything. And listen, it's the same for you. What we go through, yeah, it's for us in a sense, but really it's for what God has for us to do in those situations and things that we go through. But again, I'm honored. As she said, I'm an author. I'm an advocate for domestic violence because I am a survivor. But you know what? I always say this. Yes, I went through it. I survived it. But now that God has totally delivered me, I say that I am a conqueror of domestic violence. So that's the way I see it now that I'm on the other side of it. So ultimately, my goal, and I know that my purpose for going through what I went through was, like I said, it really wasn't for me, it's for you, it's for somebody that's going through domestic violence. It could be domestic violence because sometimes you need total deliverance from different things. It could be, as I said, domestic violence. It may be mental illness. It may be marital problems. Whatever you need total deliverance from, you have to connect to the source. And if you have read my book, and if you plan on reading my book, you're gonna see that the source is God for me. That I was totally connected to Him, even while I was going through the things that I went through. So I'm just excited to be here and to just to have the dialogue. And my prayer is that what we talk about, that someone out there that will listen and take heed. If you're in that type of relationship, this is not healthy, it's not good, because you have to get out of it. Because I'm just going to say, you got to get out. If God did it for me, let me tell you something, He can do it for you. So again, I'm excited, and I'm just looking forward to just a great conversation. And yeah, and I know it's all about the feedback, and we're gonna be talking to each other. So any questions or anything, so I'll go turn it back over to Rochelle.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you. That was a beautiful introduction. I
You're
couldn't have done it
welcome.
any
It's
more
so
justice than you did. Listen, we know that October is the
mhm.
domestic violence month, and we
Yes,
celebrate October all month with bringing awareness
right.
to domestic violence.
Hmm.
So, but before we dive into that, I loves me a good acronym, you know? And
Yes.
so, my acronym for total is, total deliverance means it's a complete mind, body, and
Hmm.
spirit. It's complete mind, body, spirit, where you overcome your past, you embrace healing, and you live in victory and purpose. And
Amen.
so for me, that T, when we first talk about that T,
Hmm.
it's the transformation.
Yes, it is.
So, but before we dive all the way into my acronym of breaking it down, I want to ask you the first question.
Hmm.
What exactly does total deliverance mean to you personally? How did you come up with that top title for your book?
Well, the title actually, that wasn't the title. I had another title, and honestly, I don't remember what it was, but I was talking to a good friend about the book, and she came back and said, "Girl, God totally delivered you." I was like, "Oh." Then I was like, "Okay." That's how the title came
Oh yeah.
about. So for me, what total deliverance mean is basically what it says: to be totally free, to live, not in fear, not
Mm,
just being able to just be my authentic self,
hmm.
not being controlled, not being coerced, not living in fear, just being how God created me to be,
Right.
just to be who I am, to be delivered and to have my voice, to be able to speak. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's deep. I
It's
could
that
go,
complete,
oh
like you
yeah,
say, that
yes,
it's a,
yeah.
when we think about, like I say, the T in total, that
Hmm.
transformation,
Hmm.
being changed,
Yeah.
that complete change
Yeah.
from being in bondage
Right.
to being living, like you said, living, thriving,
Yeah.
surviving
Uh-huh.
in freedom.
Yeah.
Because in one of my books, one of the quotes I often say it,
Uh-huh.
in When Destiny Needs an Intervention, Volume 2, For the
Yes.
Love of Money.
Uh-huh.
I never knew the weight
Mm.
until I felt the freedom.
Okay. And yeah.
Because living, like you say, masking,
Mhm.
hiding behind
Mhm.
pain, hiding behind fear and shame, stuffing it down, numbing
Mhm.
it with sugar, numbing it with being a
Oh,
poor
yeah.
steward over my finances.
Mhm.
You can't, like Dr. Shayna D. Lewis like to say,
Yeah.
if mama ain't right, ain't
Ain't
nobody
nobody
right. I
right.
mean, if your mindset, if your spirit,
Yeah.
if it's not
Mhm.
in total agreement, in
That's
total
right.
alliance,
Mhm.
you messed up
Oh, you really
and
messed
you are
up.
in bondage,
And you are.
and there's no transformation that's going
No,
to happen.
it
It's,
won't.
it's total uh, defamation, total
Absolutely.
destruction
Absolutely.
that's going on inside,
Yeah.
both inside and outside,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
all around you. And
Absolutely.
so, and because of the transformation,
Mhm.
we move into the O of total.
Okay.
You are an overcomer.
Uh-huh.
You conquered that thing. Of
Absolutely.
course, you had, like the young lady said, you have been totally delivered. You have
Totally.
overcome
Yes.
that weight, that space of being in bondage,
Mhm.
from an abusive spouse. And
Right.
so we're gonna let you just kind of give us just a little snippet, because we want the peoples to go and buy the book, Total
Yes.
Deliverance. I'm gonna drop the link here in a minute, but
Uh-huh.
we want you to give us a little snippet of what the book's about. And so, but you were an overcomer,
Mhm.
and then the other T in total, triumph. You're
Mhm.
triumphant from being that victim.
Right.
You know how we have that victim
Yes.
mentality? So,
Uh-huh.
baby girl, you are now a victor. You are a
Oh yeah.
victor. You claimed that victory over your struggles, over the pain that you endured, for living in that season of your life.
Right.
And let
Exactly.
me just drop this in here. I should have said this at the beginning. Now I know I'm talking crazy, but we ain't no therapists. We ain't no
Oh.
licensed therapists, no
Uh-uh.
psychiatrists. We are professional. We lived this. This
Yes.
is our story. We're
Mhm.
sharing our story,
Exactly.
because our stories can be somebody else's survivor guide.
That's
and
right.
and and also, throughout this podcast, we're going to drop in, some of those hotline numbers,
Mhm.
because if you find yourself in that space,
Right.
we it's our prayer that you find a way to break free, you
Mhm.
find a way to get out, and that first step is making that call.
That's
And
it.
so, you know there's the transformation, you're an overcomer,
Mhm.
there's triumph.
Mhm.
And honey, now you're living in that abundance.
Oh yeah.
That abundance, because
Yeah.
we know that's our birthright.
It
God, that's
is.
why He came, so we can live that
And so,
abundant life
absolutely.
in peace, in
Yeah.
joy, in
Mhm.
growth, and self control, and
Mhm.
resilience, and
All right.
love.
Yes.
And so, having that whole, being
Yeah.
wholly well
Oh yeah.
in mind, body, spirit, having that
Mhm.
peace, and
Yeah.
walking in your purpose. And then that L of total is that the liberty, again,
Yeah.
walking boldly in
Mhm.
freedom
Yeah.
towards your destiny, honey.
There you go.
I always ask the question, when does destiny need an intervention? When the people say it, type it in the chat right now.
Right now.
You gotta
Absolutely.
get, grab your destiny right now.
Yeah. Right
It's
now.
not tomorrow, not
Uh-uh.
yesterday. I mean, not next week, not next
Right now.
month, next year. Right now. Right
Right
now.
now.
Because we're not promised tomorrow.
Oh no, we're not.
And so right now
We are not.
it's time for you to decide that I want to free myself to
Uh-huh.
total deliverance. All
Amen.
right, so I set that thing up. I'm gonna come back to deliverance as we go along, but total,
Okay.
that total again, transformation. Those of you
Mhm.
taking notes, if you could put it in the chat, transformation, overcomer,
Right.
triumph, abundant, and liberty.
Yes.
That's that
I love
total,
it.
that complete
Yeah.
total freedom.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right. So, Miss Tina, give us just a
Mm.
little snippet of what total deliverance, what you wrote about in your book, Total Deliverance.
Well, the book is my story where I met actually we're coming up into October the 26th. I met a guy that I thought was God sent. He said he was, but I say even in my book, you have to be careful what you pray for. Yeah, you got to be specific. So I met him, and eventually we started dating. He was a truck driver. He lived in Seaford, Delaware, and eventually moved him to Houston, Texas with me, which was a big no-no now that I look back on it. But I always say, God, he's so intentional in all his ways. So um, eventually he started abusing me. And I would ride in the truck with him. He was a truck driver. He would pick up cars from Houston, and we would deliver them all the way up to the East Coast and back. And the first time that I had that experience, that really seeing who he was on the truck headed to Dallas. It was bad, and at that time, at the beginning of that relationship, and I wanted to go away, get off that truck, but I didn't. And it was so many times that things occurred through the whole journey of the story of my story that I know, hindsight, looking back now, that that's the way God had it for it to be. And there's the statistics is that it takes a woman or a man 7 to 11 times to leave an abusive relationship, and I think I exceeded the 11 times going back and forth. So I wasn't married to him, but eventually I married him, knowing that he was an abuser because he was abusing me. And I look at it now because I had to wrestle with that. So sometimes, even though I got out of it, I had to go through a whole lot of self work. I had to do some work. And one of the things is I had to give myself some grace, because I this was not my first time going through domestic violence. I was when I was 19 years old, I experienced it. And even before then, I experienced it with my growing up, because my dad was very abusive toward my mother. So I ended up marrying him. And now that when I said I look back at it, I married him more out of fear. And then now that I look back on it, I say, regardless, it'd have been, if I would not have married him, it still would have been the same way. So ended up marrying him, just went through a whole lot of stuff with him. And all of it is in the book, just very transparent on, just getting away from him, and dealing with my own children and being alienated from my family and friends. Eventually, I got off the truck and ended up getting a job, just to give you a snippet of the whole thing. But long story short, God told him to deliver me on the end. You're going to have to get the book to see what and how God did what he did, and the things that I went through. I went through some things. And one of the things that I can definitely say, I'm very passionate about domestic violence. And when I see the stories, I literally get choked up, and sometimes I even cry.
Oh yeah.
Because, listen, y'all, Alma almost was, like they say, unalived. He almost unalived
Mm,
me.
mm,
And it was just me crying out for the sake of one of my grandsons that he loved so much, that he stopped choking me.
mm.
I almost passed out, but it was God. So,
Look at God.
like I
Yeah.
say, it's deep. Domestic violence is deep, and people always want to say, "Well, why don't you just leave it?" You got to understand, it is not that easy. It is not. You cannot just tell a person just to get up and leave. because
Right.
there's so many dynamics to it. First
Right.
of all, it's so many reasons why we stay. I'm gonna say we because that was me. We
Right.
stay.
Right.
It's a plethora of reasons. It could be finances, could be the threats. Like he would like, I'm gonna get your children. Or like
Oh
he,
yes. Yes.
if I can't, oh, leave if you won't. Just
Right.
so many things that we end up staying. But even with that, I always say, in order to get out, you got to define your why. Why I need to go, because that why, Rochelle, is going to be so deep, it's going to make you cry because you're going to get that thing together. You know what? I had to get there. And
Right.
one of the things that I share, even when I'm speaking, one of the whys was my grandchildren, definitely my sons. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time I had left him, and one of my sons had to come pick me up. And
Mm-hmm.
they knew, they didn't know at first, but eventually they knew. And I had to call for him to come get me. And here it is, my at that time my 30 something year old son, looking at me and just with tears in his eye, Mama, what we gonna do when he kill you? What we gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
And at that point I knew I had to figure that out, because I
Right.
could bear the thought of my children or my grandchildren bearing me. I
Right.
could do
Right.
it. So at that point, there was a turning point for me. So if anybody listening and you're in that type of, and you're in it, you got to define, you got to, first of all, you got to learn how, okay, he or she may be telling me all these things about me, but I knew it was not me.
Right.
So if you continue to just let people pour negativity in you, if you're not strong enough, you're gonna begin to believe that stuff. But I think God, that I had so much God in me,
Right.
thought He was gonna be able to break me. He tried, but He didn't succeed. I ain't gonna lie, He almost did. I
Right.
had gotten to the point where I had lost everything about me. Like that, what you asked that question, what does total deliverance mean? That means I had to go back and revamp me all over again. And one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that I lost was my smile. I couldn't smile. I remember one time we were on the truck and we had gone. I didn't want to get off. I didn't want to go in and get some food, but
Mm-hmm.
he made me get out of the truck because I guess he had a feeling that I was probably going to run and I was going to do
Right.
something.
Right.
So went in. It was a Subway. I remember this so well. And
Mm-hmm.
I came in right behind him. And you know me, I'm always smiling.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't smiling then. So I
Yeah.
went in that Subway. The little guy that was fixing the sandwich, he looked up and then he looked at me and then he looked at him and he told him, say, man, I don't know what you did to her, but you need to make that right, because it was showing all over my face. And that's just
Right.
because I'm a people person.
Right.
But when you lose yourself in somebody else, that is
Mm.
not where you need to be.
Right.
I completely lost myself, and that's what happens when we're in these type of toxic
Relationship.
relationships.
Yeah.
And it don't even just have to be, that type of relationship. It could be any kind of relationship, a friendship relationship, anything that you lose yourself in. It's just not the place to be.
Right. Right. And
Yeah.
so, it my next question was going to be, share that moment or that turning point when you, Tina, when you decided that I deserve my freedom. I
Mhm.
want my smile back.
Yeah.
I want that peace. I want to be safe, feel
Yeah.
safe. What was that exact moment for you?
That exact moment was it was in June. It was no, it was in May. We were going down to my hometown, Mississippi, for my niece's graduation, and I had my grandchildren with me. Whew, he acted a plum fool with one
Mm.
of my grandbabies, and like I say in my book, I became old grandma hen, like
Oh
a
yeah.
grand.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
The claws
You know,
came out.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And I said some
Mama bear.
things. I did all that. I was protecting them. And I
Mm.
was like, oh, I looked at him and I said, you're going to be sorry for what you did.
Mm.
Yeah, and I had to, be bold enough to speak up, because even with, I had to be selective when I would say things, because if I said it and it hit a nerve with him, I was going to get a backhand or something.
Right,
But
right.
at that time, I didn't care,
Mm,
so I just protected my little grandson the whole time that we were there, and I just told him, you was going to be sorry,
mm.
and that was my turning point.
That was your
And
turning point.
that was the turning point. Like I said,
And,
your lie has to be so deep,
yeah,
it's gonna make you move.
it's going. Yes, I love that.
Mhm.
It's going to make you say right now
Uh-huh.
is and that brings me to the D in deliverance,
Mhm.
because you decided that you was gonna break free. And
Mhm.
so it has been often said, by therapists and professionals,
Uh-huh.
that like you said, when you are in this relationship,
Mhm.
it's not easy just to just
Mhm.
decide, hey, I'm gonna break free, I'm done,
Yeah.
and then leave.
Mhm.
So what I've been told is you need a plan. You
Safety
need to be
plan.
strategic
Yes.
about your exit,
Absolutely.
about because like you say, there's so many moving parts, there's
Yeah.
so much to consider,
Mhm.
and the threats
Mhm.
that the person often make, and we hear it and see it on the
Yeah.
news
All the
often,
time.
the
All the time.
the what do you call it, where it's murder suicide
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all of that, and it's happening, Tina,
Mhm.
more and more to like our younger generation.
It is.
And it really breaks my heart, is because it's
Mhm.
like, what can we do, how can we stop this pandemic, this awful way of treating each other, or just bringing harm to another human being. So, you know when you think about the misconceptions, about when you're leaving the relationship,
Mhm.
the violent relationship, and it's oftentimes, a lot of times it's not, physical violence. It can be mental, it
Hey,
can be spiritual, it
and
can
that's
be
worse.
financial. It's
Yeah.
all wrapped up into that.
Mhm.
So what are some misconceptions that you see or hear, when people are deciding that they are ready to leave?
Like you said, one of the most important things you got to do is safely, and that's one thing that I advocate and teach women, that you have to do it safely. And remember what I said earlier, don't be advising people just to leave. You got to do it safely. You got to, because one of the things, you got to have a safety plan. Where am I going? There should be a bag packed. You either gonna give it to somebody that you know, and I even did that. I packed a bag, hid it in the closet with the things that I needed, like my
Mhm.
birth certificate, things
Mhm.
you need for your children, the shot records, what and clothing, whatever you need, you can give it to somebody. And for me, I did. I hid it in the closet, and then I got scared, thought he'd find it.
Yeah.
But it's so many things that you have to do, that have, you don't want him to find you, because you got to understand that is the most critical time for a man or woman to lose their life, when they leave,
Leave. Yeah.
because that person has lost their control.
Oh yeah.
And let me just go ahead and add this in here while we on this subject. If you are on social media and you
Mm.
know you are in a domestic violence relationship, do not listen, be out there posting anything about your abuser, because that's just like adding fuel to the fire.
Oh yeah.
Because I promise you, I've seen it too many times. I follow a lot of YouTubers, because just doing my research and stuff, and I
Mhm.
follow cases, and where they go out there and they say things, and if you might even have him or her blocked, but you better believe there's some trolls on that page,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
telling him, and he or she, they are upset, and they coming for you.
Oh yeah. And
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 yeah,
anyone around you, and
anyone, they
because we've
I
we've
get sick.
heard, Yeah, we've heard the news
Yeah,
stories about they've killed whole families
that's right.
and friends,
That's right.
because of this. So this
Absolutely.
this is a serious this
It's
is a
so
serious.
serious.
Yeah,
It is a horrible way to live.
yeah,
And even that I'm on the other side of it, I still have my triggers. That's something, but I thank God that when I have those moments, He just brings me back to, okay, you're not there no more. But I know I've gone through it, and like I said, I can relate when I'm talking to
yeah,
women or whoever, when I'm speaking or whatever. That I've been there. I know how you feel, how it is to just be like you're in a cave. You can't even breathe. You
right.
can't even move. I remember one time, one thing about him. I'm just gonna say he was a provider. He always that I give him that. I couldn't do nothing by myself.
Mm,
Always wanted me to look good, go get my hair done. I remember one time one of my good friends who was a beautician, I went to her to do my hair, and I thought I was going by myself, but
mm.
no,
He wanted to tag
right
along.
there with me.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's a horrible way to live. You
yeah,
don't have no friends.
yeah.
Didn't want at the one time. I'm on social media, and I was really on social media before I met him. I had to just completely get off. He wanted me to delete all my male friends, and I was like, I'm not gonna do it. But I just
Yeah.
completely got off of social media. But he thought I
Right,
was still there. So you
right.
have to be very careful when you're out there on social media and all kind of aspects of what you do when you're in that type of relationship, because it's all about that control.
True. Yeah, that and
Oh,
they've lost it.
mm-hmm.
So the D in deliverance is decide.
Yeah,
You decided that it was
yeah,
time to break free.
uh-huh.
And the E, empower yourself. You have to empower
Absolutely.
yourself with truth. You have to
Yeah,
empower yourself with a plan, a
mm-hmm.
strategic plan.
Yeah,
Empower yourself with resources
mm-hmm.
and people that can help you, doing this process of
Right.
breaking free. So we're coming to the L in deliverance, and that's letting go of the fear.
Yeah.
So, how did your faith or your spiritual beliefs, how did that play a role in
Oh,
breaking free,
um,
from that fear of leaving that abusive relationship, and then, like I say, starting over,
mhm.
reconnecting with who Tina was,
Yeah.
getting that smile back and protecting your family.
Yeah. But before can I just go back to where on the E about the resources and all
Empower.
of that?
Okay.
Yeah, the power of, yeah. So let me just add, all of that is true too, but you got to encourage yourself. For me, I did a
Mm,
lot of journaling. I
mm,
listened to a lot of music, and one of the songs, Tamla Man, that "Take Me to the King." When that song first
mm.
came out, we was riding in the truck, and I heard it, and that was my go-to song. I would
Yes.
cry, and I would just be in my own little element in whatever. So you have to, you definitely need to find somebody you can trustworthy, that you can confide in. You can't
Amen.
talk to everybody. So you
Right.
got to find a trustworthy person. So how I got through it, and with it, my faith in God, and that's what it took me to, like I say, I had to stay in journaling. I was in my word, and I would just talk to God about it. And I would like, with God conversations. I still have those God conversations today, because I at that point, I really wasn't talking to anybody. But I always say, I can't say this enough. God is so intentional. I have a good friend of mine, that one day we were out on the road, and she called me, and she was telling me that her sister was concerned about me. Mind you, I don't even know her sister like that. I know that was all God. So I had to kind of talk to her in code, because she just felt like something wasn't right about me. And eventually, when I got home, she came and made a visit. And then, I kind of like was able to talk to her, like with him not being around, to tell her. And she just literally cried and said, "You got to get out." So it was just my faith, and it was just God just sending, I'll call them my angels,
Oh
sending
yes.
them
That's right.
all around me. It
Yes.
was there, and every time something happened, it was like God placed somebody there. It was one time in my book that I got off a truck. The truck in West Memphis, Arkansas, didn't have nothing but a laptop. And
Hmm.
God sent this. I'm like, I'm trying to find a ride. I need a ride back to Houston. So I wasn't talking to the male driver. So I was talking to this female driver, and I'm going to just say this. I've been praying for years. The Lord, just let me just one day come, we connect again, because I want to tell her,
Thank you.
say
Yeah.
thank you. So she just basically said, and I've been back to that truck stop since.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I just wanted to tell her thank you. So, but she said it looked like you need some help. I'm not going to Houston, but let me put you in a room, and she did, and didn't even know I had family. And
Wow.
here it is. He calls my dad, telling me he didn't know where I was. Of course, my family thought that I was on long. He had unalived me and threw me on. They was never gonna find me. But then I had to think about it. I didn't have no phone. I didn't have any money, but I had a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
What I did, I got on Facebook. And when I opened it up in my messenger, my niece was crying out, "Aunt Tina, where you at?"
Ooh, yes. Nothing but the
Nobody
promise of
got
God. Oh yes. Oh
out.
yes.
So found out
Woo!
I had a cousin there. He came pick me up the next day, put me on a bus back to Houston, Texas. But was I done? Mm-mm,
No, no.
no.
And so through that journey, um, what are as we come to the eye of deliverance, can you help us or walk us through identifying some of his patterns, or
Hmm.
those the unhealthy triggers or things that or the unhealthy patterns that he did that that caused some of those triggers, because I know about them triggers. I
Hmm.
just this past Sunday, I um, my son's grandfather,
Hmm.
um, um, I kind of came into my space,
Right.
and it just triggered me, Tina.
Hmm.
It was like, oh my goodness, like you say, you just is you're right back there.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know, as when I talked to my therapist this week, it's like, yeah, you've been re-traumatized. And I
Hmm.
was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
it just that weight that
Hmm.
those triggers. I mean, it could, like I said, it can be seeing somebody, hearing
Hmm.
a song, smelling something,
Yeah.
seeing,
Exactly.
it's they're so real. So
Yeah.
kind of walk us through, some of those, because somebody right now may be in this situation. They
Hmm.
may be um, trying to figure out, hmm, oh yeah, that, trying to identify
Hmm.
what it is, or why it is, you know, that's
Yeah.
something's just not right.
Oh yes. The verbal abuse, how the conversations, and 1 minute I could be, oh, my beautiful wife, and another minute I could be a crackhead, I could be worse
Mm,
than this person, and just like you walking around on eggshells. If
mm,
you are in a relationship where you cannot speak freely, you're walking around on eggshells, defending who you are, but you know who you are, but you're being called all kind of names,
mm,
and just no respect for you, and even being out in public. You would think you would be, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna keep it on the DL and all this," and no, I remember one time we oh my gosh, we was at a truck, it broke down. We was at at the shop, and this man talked to me so crazy. I was like, oh my gosh. It was just a whole lot of things that would trigger me. And even after I got out of it, and was working, and here's another thing, he knew where I worked. So
Mm,
that was one of the things, and that's one of the things that that's on my agenda to put something out there about the workplace on how to
mm,
protect your employees. But he knew where I worked, and I remember one time going up to, if you've been into the Texas Medical Center at Memorial Hermann, and you go up that stair going to the cafeteria. I stepped up the stairs and I just actually froze, and I just knew it was him, but it was,
mm,
and even now I see people that remind me, and I get a
mhm,
little triggered. It could
yeah.
be anything. And like I said, he was a car hauler, and I remember when I first got out, and I went my separate ways, and it was, living with one of my sons for a while, and then eventually I got my own place and I started moving around, and decided I was going to take a trip home solo. Drove down, and he drove those car haulers where they have all the cars on the back.
Mm.
And I remember that first time I did that trip, and I saw them. I mean, I was seeing them, and I cried the whole time. But let me tell you something now. Listen,
Yeah.
it ain't that way now,
Yeah.
baby. I'll be riding down the street. I'll be like, peace out.
Yeah. Shock 'em the deuce,
You know,
girl.
I might
Shock
have
'em
to
the
do
deuce.
something like,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
I love that because again that goes back to that total
Yeah.
that transformation that
Mhm.
you went through, and
Yeah.
how you're living in your
Yeah.
abundance, and how you're
Uh-huh.
you're walking in your liberty, and you're
Yeah.
walking with confidence,
Mhm.
because you're an overcomer now. um the V in deliverance is valuing your worth,
Ooh, that
and,
part
and
right there.
because you often your greeting is
Mhm.
beautiful, and
Yeah.
so share with the listeners your acronym for BMW, because I often is for me is beloved. And
Yes.
so, just knowing your worth, because like you say,
Yeah.
for them it's about the control.
It is.
It's tearing you down,
Yeah.
calling you out your name, how they say you
Mhm.
calling you out your government name,
Yeah.
and just, really, bit by bit,
Yeah.
slowly, taking away
Away from
pieces of
you.
you,
Mhm.
pieces of your identity,
Yeah.
and that smile,
All of
it
that.
slowly
Yeah.
dims, because you're no longer, believing that you
Mhm.
are a child of God, that
Oh
you
yeah.
are fearfully and
And
wonderfully
wonderfully.
made in His image.
Better speak, girl.
And so share with us the BMW, girl, and
Okay, so
talk to the people about really understanding what the value of their worth.
mhm. The BMW acronym is beautiful, marvelous, and worthy. And it's actually a poem that I wrote way before him. Like I
Mhm.
said, God was intentional.
Yeah.
But yes, and what you said about calling you out of your government name, it's sometimes, you feel like you don't have the courage, but you got to have the courage to speak up for yourself, even in this. So when he would call me out of my name, I look at him and say, my mom and daddy didn't name me that. You gonna
Mm,
respect me, call me by my name.
mm,
So he was still trying me, but whatever.
yeah.
Something, when you God's daughter, you got to put the word on it.
Yeah.
Because I remember one time I told him, I said, you know what, you must really hate yourself. Well, what do you mean by that? I said, because what does God say when a man, when husband love your wives like Christ loved the church?
That's right.
But so, and I'm part of you, so you must really hate yourself.
Yourself. Yeah.
Baby, he got quiet. But
Hmm.
you got to learn your worth. You got to, because if you do not stand up for yourself and know who you are, and most importantly, whose you are,
Whose you are? Yes.
people will discredit you. They will count you out. They would
Yeah.
do everything about you. But I thank God that like I said earlier, that I have so much, and I had, and I still have God in me, that I know who I am. I'm not going. And that's one of the things that at the end of the book, that one of the things that I learned, that I will not let anybody define me when they did not create me ever
Hmm.
again. I don't care who they are, male or
Right.
female. You got to
Yeah.
know your worth, and
Right.
it's hard to do when somebody keep telling you that you're not.
Right.
But you gotta like do that song Jacqueline Carr saying when he say I am that, I tell him I'm not that thing, and he says I'm not that, I tell him I am that. But so
Yeah.
you gotta have that you gotta have those conversations in your head,
Right.
because
Right.
sometimes you can't speak out loud. But I was doing a lot of speaking inwardly. And
Yeah.
I remember one time I was singing the song Amazing Grace. Told
Mm.
me to shut up. I got told shut up so much I almost thought my name was shut up. Just shut
Oh
up.
boy.
But
Yeah.
you know what, girl? Rochelle, you know what I did? Baby,
What
I was
you do,
saying
girl?
on the inside.
That's right.
Amazing Grace.
He can't take it.
You couldn't take that from me.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
remember one time I told him, I said, you know what? When you see these tears, when you
Mm.
see they stop rolling down my face, it's a wrap. I'm
Yeah.
done. And
Yeah.
at the end, he saw it.
Oh yeah.
I was done.
Yeah.
God had gotten me to that point. Because you sometimes you wanna do, but you gotta be like, God was like, I don't need you to do nothing. I'm gonna tell you, one time we was up in the Pennsylvania, and if you ever been on the East Coast, there's a lot of mountains. So we
Mm-hmm.
were up on a mountain, and he was, oh girl, he was talking crazy. I was
Mm-mm.
tired. I had gotten to the point where I was just tired. I was like, Lord, I'm tired. I'm finna do this. I'm finna pounce on him. We might go over this mountain, but Lord,
Oh
if you
boy.
save me, but if not, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. But
And
like I say, by that time, you was a woman resolved.
I was, and I
Yeah.
heard God say, I don't need you to do nothing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't need you to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't say nothing. So I
Yeah.
got to the point that I just got quiet.
Got
At
quiet.
the end, I
Got
would
quiet.
say something. Okay, I'm not going to even. I'm not going to go there with you.
I love that. I love
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
When we think about you talked about those mountains,
Hmm.
it brings us to our E in deliverance. Establishing those safe boundaries.
Yes.
And so, you know, you mentioned, one of the things you did was, you got quiet.
Hmm.
What are some other things that you did to establish, those safe boundaries, for you as you were, slowly, reaching that point of, you making your exit?
Honey, I journaled, and I still journal today.
Mm, mm.
I journal my prayers every morning. I would just get in my word. I would have the Bible. I would just read, and I would just listen to a lot of inspirational gospel music. And I even have all those journals. I have them in chronological date order. They
Oh,
be a journal. I just haven't sat down and wrote it, did it yet. And I
mhm.
do remember going through some of them journals. He had made me so upset one day. I didn't write, but guess what? He wrote for me. He
What?
wrote to God and told God that he had upset me so bad, and it was just a few words he wrote for me. So I
In
knew
your journal?
in my journal. So that tells
Wow.
me I knew he was reading what I was writing. I
Oh,
would just write my prayers to God, and I know, oh my gosh. And one of the things that I said I had written in the journal was that I was going to write a book.
mm,
It came to pass, but I never thought the book was going to be about us.
right. Oh,
So I did
wow.
a lot of journaling. Like I said, I would get quiet, and I had my camera, and I would just take pictures. And one of the pictures I think I posted on Facebook not too long ago with the angel on the cloud.
Hmm.
And when I saw that angel on the cloud, that gave me hope. Like I said,
Hope.
always gave me something to say, hold on,
I'm
I
with you.
got it.
I'm
We're
with
gonna
you.
get you.
Yeah.
You're gonna get through this. But and like I said, I knew I went through it, but it was for me to a certain point. But it's for, like Esther said, for a time such as this.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
can tell my story. So I can just empower you to say, hold on, yeah, get the right resources, get with the people that can help you to
Yeah.
get out, because that's the ultimate thing, is for your safety. And if you got children, see, my kids were
Mm,
all grown, they were grown
mm,
men, but my
mm.
grandchildren were small,
Yeah.
you know, and you have to break that cycle, because like I
Right.
said, I saw it when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So I basically speak to every aspect of a little girl, that teenage girl, that college girl, and even that middle age, because I was almost 50 years old when I went through.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, I'm loving how, God is just really guiding this
Yeah,
conversation. I just feel and I see his footprint and his presence
yeah.
tonight.
He
Because
was so,
I mean, you would not believe how it's just sinking into everything.
yeah.
And like I say, we didn't even go over a script, so
No,
this is I
just
love
the
it.
dialogue.
Because you just said, getting that help,
Yeah,
and that's the R in deliverance, is reaching out for help.
reaching out.
Um, you know, the Bible tells us, we have not because
Because
we
we
don't ask.
not.
You know,
Yep,
it's time, beloveds, for us to seek,
got
to
to act.
knock, to
Yeah,
bang on the door, because
yeah,
we know He's a very present help in our
yeah,
time of need, our time of trouble.
yeah.
And so I'm going to put it again in the chat. The
Mhm,
hotline number to for domestic
mhm,
violence.
mhm.
There's a 3-digit number. Is it 81? What is it? Do you?
I don't know it offhand.
Okay,
I
I'll look at it as we right before we wrap up,
Mhm.
and put that, because the one that I put in the chat is the Houston
Yeah,
area.
it's 1-800-799-SAFE. That's the
Oh
name.
yeah, 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 yeah. There's that one as well. So I'll
Yeah,
put that in there as well, because we want, you know um, first of all, beloveds, anybody that's reaching in. Again, I just want to thank Tina for sponsoring tonight's episode, and it's been sponsored by her podcast. It's just a soul tie.
yeah.
And so I just want everyone to leave here tonight, with what they need.
Yeah.
If it's you personally, it's
Mhm.
somebody make sure that you subscribe to this channel, you like, you share, tag someone, because we really want our listeners um, to walk in total deliverance
Absolutely.
in whatever it is that's keeping them in bondage. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be domestic violence.
Yeah,
There's so much. For me, it was sexual molestation.
yeah.
Not living, hiding behind a mask,
Mhm.
using sugar and my love of money,
Mhm.
and just not being able to feel like
Right.
I had a voice,
Mhm.
not being able to feeling that shame and that
Right.
fear of asking for help.
Yep.
Because most of us, we think we can do it ourselves. We don't need the help.
Mhm. Oh, really?
Sometimes we just feel like I got the Lord, He's on my side. But he gives us, of course, He doesn't give us that spirit of fear,
No,
but He gives us that spirit of a sound mind,
absolutely.
and being able to tap into our resources and
Sure
ask for
did.
the help.
He said, "Seek wise counsel. Go
that,
find you
that
some
wise
counsel."
counsel. Yeah.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
so, if when we find ourselves, and when we reach out, asking for help, and then once we get that help, then we can, we come into the A of in deliverance, is allowing ourselves to heal.
Oh,
You,
yeah.
you've talked you've talked quite often tonight
Mhm.
about, part of your healing was the journaling.
Yeah.
When you think about um, um, the resources and the
Mhm.
support systems, what are some steps that somebody right now that they can take, as they move towards their
Mhm.
journey of total deliverance, you know aside from the, like I say, the journaling,
Mhm.
what is one crucial step that they can take, like right now?
I would say if you have not told somebody, find somebody that you can talk to, that you can confide in to get you to the resources, excuse me, that you need because there's help. You can call that 1-800-799-SAFE. It's a national number. They can connect you with someone locally, just to have the conversation on how to begin to, exit out and to do it safely.
Hmm.
Because, you got to talk to somebody. Find a good friend that you can confide in. They can know that you can trust with what you're telling them. Because, like I say, you can't tell everybody. You got to tell somebody because you want somebody to know what's going on with you. So I would definitely say that find, get the resources that you need. Because even when you go to that national, there's a website attached to that number as well. I mean, there's so many resources out there. It just to protect yourself on social media, all kind of things that you need. So, and even with that, before I even got into that relationship, that was one of the things that I was doing with the Houston Women's Shelter, going through some extensive training. Um, and that was one of the things that when I met him that I was doing, and then, and I told him what I was doing, and which was a red flag. Why it always has to be the man in a defensive way, So you just got to plug in and just find, somebody to confide in. I think that's one of the first things that, because at the beginning, I didn't tell anybody and
Yeah.
I was just suffering in silence. And we don't have to suffer in
Yeah.
silence. We,
I often say silence is not golden.
it is not,
It,
not,
it's, how they, when you go to the movies, silence.
mhm,
No, it's not.
it is not because
And
it
so,
will consume you. It will.
right. Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
overwhelmed
Yeah.
with that.
And so, with the different support systems and the resources that are out there, which one of those made the biggest difference for you and through this process or through your journey?
For me, it was just the people that were there for me, that I knew I could trust
Hmm.
and I confided in. And I have a good friend that offered me a way of escape. You know what? I don't be at my apartment. Here's a key. I had a key.
Oh,
I
wow.
had those type of friends that I confided in, and it wasn't many. It was only two. Well,
Yeah.
actually, really three. And they still in my life today. And
Mhm.
you gotta, like I said, you always gotta know your tribe, the people that you can really trust, that's got your back, and they're gonna guide you in the correct way. So I just thank God that I was able to finally, confide in. That was just like you say, the weight when
Yeah.
you getting that weight off of you. That like, okay, and and another thing is, um, you got to have that trail, because like even when I was in some of the instances that occurred, I would call the police. There's a
Mhm.
record.
Oh, yeah.
Get a
Yeah.
restraining order.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't protect. I ain't gonna lie, they don't,
Hmm.
because there need to be some other laws and stuff that needs to be on the book. Uh, that's a whole different podcast.
Right.
But that is creating a trail.
Yeah.
Take your pictures.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, when after you've been abused or whatever, get the evidence.
Right.
Make sure you have things that can back up what you're going through.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, I remember one time that I made a call, and it's just sometimes, it depends on the law enforcement comes out, but this one officer, he was very real with me. He said, you know what, you need to get out of this because there's nothing good going to come out of it. You'll
Mhm.
end up, losing your life.
Right. Right.
So, but you got to keep a paper. You got to do that
That's true.
trail and get a restraining order and do it safely, and just remove yourself in a safe way. And it's like I say, it's a lot of resources. out
that
there.
are out there, and that can walk you,
Help walk
through
you through.
this journey.
Yeah, like
Um,
nonprofits, a lot, a lot.
I just thought about,
Mm,
I don't know how true it is. I've often heard and I've seen it on different uh, uh, um, media outlets
mhm,
about, sometimes, when you are confiding in people, and sometimes that may be a family member,
mhm.
and they can turn on you and
Yeah,
and
that's true.
take the
Yeah,
abuser's side.
yeah.
uh,
You
uh,
have to be
speak
like
to that. Is that something that you experienced?
I really didn't, especially with his family. I no, because he kind of alienated me from them.
Okay.
I didn't have a relationship with them pretty much to that debt, because I really felt like, yeah, they might have known, because I did find some things after the fact. But you're absolutely right. You have to be careful, when you confide in with the family, because they're gonna take a side, and most likely it's not gonna be yours. They're gonna
Right.
defend it.
Right. Right.
But you have to be very careful. Sometimes it just have to be somebody outside of the family
Outside. Right. Yeah.
that you can confide in, and keep, like I say, keep your journal, keep your evidence, your pictures, your if you can record a conversation, record
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're keeping these items, should you get a safety deposit box? Should you, keep it, or maybe hold it with a mailbox or a PO box, or, someone, because, a lot, like you say, sometimes, he read your
Yeah.
journal.
Oh yeah,
And
he
so,
does. It's
no telling where,
hmm
he's finding this information,
yeah.
that you think you're hiding or keeping secret, but he or even she, because
hmm
I know it's not talked about a lot, but there are female abusers.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
so, we just want to be, like you say, careful with,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, who we're asking, who we're sharing the information with,
hmm
and really, guarding, the protecting our own family and friends, because, like we talked about earlier, there have been instances where, you know, when there's a situation where even if you leave, then they're going to find you, and then they're going to bring harm to you, no matter what and who you're with. As we start wrapping this up, um, you've decided to break free. You empowered yourself, with truth. You let go of the fear.
Right.
We're talking about deliverance. Identifying, those unhealthy patterns.
hmm
Understanding and valuing your worth,
Yes.
establishing those safe boundaries, reaching out for help. you know then as you're going through this total deliverance, you can
hmm
start allowing yourself to heal. And then
Yes.
we come to the end. You're nurturing your new life. And before we
Yes.
get into that, the seed choosing love over abuse. I'm gonna
Yes.
say it again. Today is Tuesday.
Choosing. Yes.
We gotta choose love
Choose love
over abuse.
over.
And
Yeah.
then, and when we do that, we can embrace that last E in deliverance. We can embrace
Yep.
a hopeful future.
Yeah.
So my question now is, what words of hope, would you offer to someone that's listening right now, on how they can free themselves, how they can embrace total, not just partial, not just a little bit, not just some, but a total, the whole totality
Of
of,
it.
of,
Yeah.
be, of being delivered from the domestic violence.
Yeah. And when you
What
said
what
that,
words of hope?
yeah, and with that word of hope, hope, hold on, pain ends. You gotta hold
Oh,
on,
somebody put that in the chat.
ends.
Thank you, Sister
Me, I was
Athena.
holding on to my faith, to my God.
Yes.
knowing that he was going to total deliverance. Because y'all got to understand, words are powerful. You got to speak over it. I was writing it. I was speaking it. I was like, Lord, I want my life. I want my life back before what I call him in the book, Nabal George. I want my life back. I
Mm.
would speak it. I would just, I just knew it. I knew God was going to do it because that was my faith. I knew it. And you just gotta know it. And then even with that, you gotta do your work. Even when I got out, like I said, I had my triggers. I was with my son and my daughter-in-law, my grandson for oh my gosh, it took me a minute. And that would and I wanted to go back,
Yeah.
but I knew I could not go back.
Right.
So I had to love myself enough.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, I had to choose myself enough.
Right.
I had to remember the things that I endured. It's like, you know what? I ain't doing that no more.
Mm-hmm.
Because first of all, I know I was not created to be abused. And I'm a loving person. And
Right.
if you can't love me, I know I love me. And you got to learn how to love you all over again.
Right.
Yeah. And you have to. So choose you. I
Mm.
choose me. I'm going to always choose me. And that's something that I've learned after going through what I've gone through, that I would never not choose me ever again. Because it's
Mm.
all about your boundaries. You got to know, you got to set those boundaries. You got to know what you're not going to tell, your non-negotiables now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and all that. So now that I'm on the other side, it's been what, 9 years now,
Yeah.
next month.
Yeah.
Well, it was 9 years in June, but
Okay.
yeah. So now that I'm on the other side, I'm just trusting God. He knows what's for me. He knows who's for me. So
Right.
do I pay attention? Absolutely. Oh,
Absolutely.
like, oh, that's a red. I don't. I'm not so
Thanks,
guarded.
my flag on the field.
I'm not so guarded that I
Yeah.
can't. I'm not going to allow God to see what I need to see, but
Right.
I pay attention. If it
Right.
don't feel right, it ain't right.
It ain't right.
It's
Oh, I
just
love that.
not
If
right
it
for
if
me.
it don't feel right,
Mhm.
it's not right. Yeah.
It's not right for
And
me.
because a lot of times, we kind of brush off,
Ah,
those red flags, because we
yeah,
want it so bad. We want to be
yeah,
loved so bad. We want to be,
uh-huh,
appreciated so bad. I
uh-huh,
know, during my own journey, it was about uh, that uh, that that codependency,
right, uh-huh,
and just being comfortable
mhm,
with, I wanted that knight in shining armor. I mean,
yes,
to come and rescue me.
uh-huh,
And going back to our beloved Dr. Shane, ain't nobody coming to
mhm,
save you. And
nobody.
so, you just really, have to, like you said, we're gonna choose loving who I am. And this affirmation: I love me for who I am,
Yes,
when I am,
uh-huh,
where I am.
I love
And
it.
so, where you are right now, Miss
Uh-huh,
Tina J. Lewis, you are in a space of
I am.
nurturing your new life
And I love it.
beyond total deliverance.
I,
So,
I, yes.
as we wrap up, kind of give us, what's happening with Tina J. Lewis. How are you nurturing your new life
Girl, I
on this other
love my
side?
life. I do. Child, I love to travel. I just had got off a cruise and
Yeah.
just, working on some things. Uh, like I say, this is just me. I move in silence. I don't say until it's done. I'm working
Right.
on some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely some more books are on the way. I'm coaching. I'm working on some things for coaching,
Yeah.
so I can, just help the next person
Yeah.
to get strive while you in it, striving in it, and we're gonna get you on the other side to thrive,
Right.
to
Right.
get to this point where you can, okay, I can live again.
Right.
and just another a lot of things. And I do have an event where I would be honored at a gala coming up on my birthday, October 25th. I'm
Yeah.
excited about it, and I thank a good friend of mine for nominating me, Miss
Yeah.
Lisa Evans. You know Lisa,
Yeah, I know, Lisa.
thank me for
My
that.
co-author.
Yes, yes. I'm excited about that. And it just
Yes.
happened to fall on my birthday.
Yeah.
Because actually I was
Excellent.
supposed to be going down to my hometown in Mississippi to do an event.
Mhm.
And and I canceled it. But
Yeah.
that's definitely gonna happen,
And
because yeah,
I was planning on attending when I saw that you had been nominated because I
uh-huh,
had been going back and forth with that date because there was a lot of
uh-huh,
stuff going on, and I was like,
uh-huh.
ah! So
Yeah.
I think what I may do is just I'm if you know of anybody that
Hmm.
may want to attend, let me know, and
Okay.
I'll sponsor them to
Oh,
attend
well, thank
in my
you.
in my stead since I'm not going to be
Thank
able to make it, so they
you.
can represent my girl.
Okay, gotcha. I would
And
do that.
I know, like we said earlier, October is not only just my birthday month; it's
Yeah.
the month of breast cancer awareness
Uh-huh.
as well as
Domestic
domestic violence.
violence.
So,
Yes.
aside from the nomination on your birthday on the 25th with um, Miss Eureka, what else are you going to be up to as far as how
Domestic
you're going to
violence.
be advocating
Oh,
the month
honey,
of
I
October?
got a whole lineup. I'm probably be doing some lives,
Okay.
uh, putting information out pretty much every day.
Okay.
And actually, I want, definitely because while I was on the cruise, I met a young lady.
Mm.
Uh, Complimented on her hair. It was purple.
Mm.
So got
Ah,
into the conversation because, domestic violence and breast cancer. So she was a domestic violence survivor as well as a breast cancer at the same
oh,
time.
wow.
So that is one of the things that I want to talk about on,
Okay.
purple and pink together
Yeah.
because, it's a double thing when you're going with them, going through it too at the same
At the
time.
same, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm definitely, yeah,
I
yeah. So
love
it's,
that. Well, I'm
it's
gonna be I'm gonna be on the lookout. And if you noticed, I'm in my purple and pink tonight.
I know.
Decided to set it off. I'm feeling myself. And
Good.
so, as we close, let me go back over the acronym: total, transformation, overcomer, triumph. Moving from victim to victor, abundance, liberty, and then deliverance. Decide that you're going to break free. Empower yourself with truth. Let go of fear. Identify those unhealthy patterns. Beloved, value your worth. Establish those safe boundaries. Reach out for help. Allow your healing to begin. Nurture your new life. Choose love. We already put it in the chat. That's a hashtag.
Yes,
Hashtag choose love over the abuse and embrace a hopeful future.
I love,
Listen,
I love it.
one last question, Miss Tina.
Yes.
If you could leave our listeners with one powerful truth about total deliverance from domestic violence, what would it be?
Total deliverance from domestic violence is definitely just basically what it is to be able to live, to breathe, to be who you are, to love your children in peace, to be able to just be able to worship God in peace because I didn't have any peace even in my worship service. So just loving you, choosing you, being able to just walk freely, not being able to look over your shoulder in fear. It's just a horrible way to live. Yeah, so you just got to get to that point in your life that you know what? I love myself. If you don't love me, I love me, and most importantly, I know God loves me. So with that, just choose you and keep God. Always keep God at at the forefront. I don't say he my co-pilot or pilot. He is my pilot. he just guides my steps in everything I do. So I choose the relationship what I have with God, and I know he will not steer me wrong. And he is my protector, and he just guides, and just that's what total deliverance is, just to be live the way God created us to live, in love and peace.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I thank you again, Miss Tina
Oh,
J.
thank
Lewis,
you.
for joining us tonight with Free Yourself Friday.
Yes, please do.
I forgot to sing my song. Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday. Now, I just thank all of you for joining us tonight for Free Yourself to Total Deliverance.
Yes.
Remember, my beloved queens and queens, deliverance is not just about leaving the past behind. It's about stepping fully into your freedom,
Amen.
healing, and your destiny.
Yes.
You are more than what you've been through.
Amen.
You are worthy. You are that BMW,
Yes.
worthy, marvelous, beautiful,
Marvelous
marvelous,
and
worthy.
worthy.
You are worthy of peace,
Yeah.
love,
Uh-huh.
and purpose.
Purpose. All
If
of that.
tonight's episode, if tonight's conversation spoke to you, please share this episode with somebody who needs this encouragement.
Yeah.
And don't forget to subscribe to my page, okay? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share it with someone you love, and never miss a moment of hope and
Yes.
empowerment.
Absolutely.
Until next time, my beloved kings and queens, I want you to continue walking in your total deliverance,
Please.
transformation, overcoming, triumphant, abundance, and
Yeah.
liberty.
In liberty.
I am Rochelle D. Jacobs. We delivered ourselves tonight,
Yes.
reminding you your freedom is your future.
It is.
Until next time, be blessed. Have a wonderful weekend. Until next time, continue to free yourself to
Free
total
yourself.
deliverance. Tonight has been fire. It's time to go rest.
Yes.
All right. Take care, my friends.
All
Bye.
right. Bye, y'all.